and gentlemen, he's not just a citizen Schmidison talker, but he's also a seasoned comedian. He's been here many times to spread his humor and nonsense. So give it up for Robo.
Well, as promised, I waited so I could spark my spliff.
Excuse me.
I guess in Jamaica, that's what they do is they smoke spliff, so it's just basically a joint. Doesn't mean there's tobacco in it, FYI. But also in Mexico City, if you get a quesadilla, it doesn't mean there's cheese in it.
Oh, really? Wow.
What is it?
The world is an interesting place. Like I say, you got to study words. You got to know what people are talking about. Oh, man. Well, anyways, yeah, I think it's interesting that people that like to wear masks, actually, one of their favorite radio shows is Fresh Air.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's weird. I was at REI, and this dude, actually, he had a tattoo on his arm. He's wearing a mask, and his tattoo on his arm said, "Breathe." So, yo, you're messing this up, dude. Oh, what's wrong with you? Turn up the mic. We're going to get mad.
How do we do that?
Oh, I'll smoke some more. I'm going to conspire with the chronic, like I said, breathing together. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where are we at? Is that good?
A little loud, but I think that it's good enough for that.
Well, I mean, you could figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's only 8.
Yeah, we're doing good.
I used to have some neighbors, and they complained to say we made too much noise. And they were like morbidly obese, and listening to them stomp around upstairs was pretty unbearable. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to file a complaint with the HOA that you have too much high fructose corn syrup in your diet, motherfucker. Now you can hear me exhale the fucking split really good, I guess.
Sounds like your mouth breather.
Actually, that's another thing we could talk about that for a minute.
Exactly, I was all about that.
Is the book that I read is called Breath by James Nestor, and it basically breaks down how you've got all these people with breathing disorders, and it's because they're mouth breathers.
And like malformation in their
Yeah,
jawline
yeah. So
and stuff.
I think somebody said something about it. Well, you just say fuck off. You don't know.
I think he's getting a cookie.
Yeah.
Not.
No, he hears that plastic noise and he like expects it.
Oh, yeah.
Yarn be not for you. No. He is hungry. I was waiting to do my comedy, and now we've been going for a while. So I was gonna put him in the car. He's cold too. He's like, I'm cold and hungry. At least I can like eliminate one of those things by that bag sound. Like, you know, it's in the bag. Oh, it went out. All right. So, anyways, so I was talking about the mass people that like to watch NPR or listen to NPR instead of breathing freely. So I've done this joke before. So some of y'all might not have heard it, but anyways, it's like 1 in 1,000 people might die of COVID allegedly, and that's like we could talk all day long about the nonsense that what is COVID and whatnot, but that's literally the statistic, 1 in 1,000. 1 in 6 people die of heart disease, and like nobody seems to give a crap about that one, which is like the number one cause of death is your arteries being clogged by eating cheese from raped cows and stuff or whatever. It's just like totally messed up. But yeah, so it's like, so the people that take a crap might not be able to handle their shit, literally. Like, they drink too much alcohol, there's not enough fiber in their diet, so they're constipated, or they got the runs, which is the most running they'll ever do is running to a toilet. Like, that's another sad thing, unfortunately. So it's like, are we all supposed to be wearing diapers and masks, you know? I guess it depends. Oh, this was a silly joke, but has anybody ever seen the slavery pictures of, well, you know, this is like Black History Month, so we're going to talk about some really weird shit, but they had the Dirt Eater mask. Does anybody know what that mask is? It was like basically fixed onto their faces, like armor. So like they weren't able to talk, and they actually put something in to stop their tongue. So like all they could do was like mumble and stuff. So I feel it's a very interesting with like cancel culture, which is like a whole weird dynamic we're going to talk to about a little bit. So, but yeah, I think it would be really awkward if you were a black person and your job happened to be like someone's like, where do you work? And you're like, soup plantation.
They closed them.
Sounds a little weird. Are they closed? I didn't know that.
Getting some exercise.
How long have they been closed for?
I think during COVID.
I haven't seen
During
them.
COVID? Oh, the plantation didn't survive COVID. That's how bad COVID is. The soup plantation got closed. All right, see, this is why I like talking about stuff, because it's a conversation. Like, I think a good comedy or whatever is like you get feedback from the audience and stuff. So, so we were talking about the 13th Amendment earlier. So, yeah, basically it says literally involuntary servitude is illegal unless... It's like, but wait, there's more. Unless convicted of a crime. But it doesn't mean that like you're not going to sign a contract and be like, yo, I want to be whipped and choked and stabbed and beaten or whatever, murdered, mutilated. Like if you want to do that, then that's cool as long as you just sign for it. Like, you know, that's good. So that's what the 13th Amendment literally says. Anyways, everybody's all obsessed with like, well, not everyone. I don't like to say it like that. Like when you say everyone this or everyone that, the way I feel about it is like generalizing is usually generally lies. Like you're just like trying to encapsulate people into your like narrative in your head, and like it doesn't even make sense. But so anyway, so I don't know if anybody else is a fan of BLM, but if you know your stuff, actually BLM offers like 14 days of like free camping around the country. And of course, I'm actually talking about the Bureau of Land Management. Yeah. We stole all that land from the Native Americans, but if you know how to use it right, you could actually not pay rent, technically, and travel around.
You just move every 14 days.
Yeah, I guess we need to make the reservation go mobile. And that's I was talking about the state national citizen stuff earlier. Like that's like really what a non-resident alien is another point that I should just write this down. Is that like when you say you're a non-resident alien, you're a nomad. So you're like, they want to tie you down to have that jurisdiction over you is like kind of a trick. I don't know where my pen went. Somebody could throw a pen at me if you found one. So anyways, yeah, so that's kind of the trickery there. So yeah, Bureau of Land Management. So yeah, Bureau, Black Lives Matter and shit. Like, there's actually people that helped found that, and they like straight up come forward. Can I use it first?
It's messing up the video.
Why don't you have any candles? Here you go, Lord. So yeah, like Bureau of Land Management, or excuse me, the other version of BLM, Black Lives Matter. If like they were like really hardcore, it's like, yo, man, you'd be like shutting down the prisons. Like I don't know about canceling some dude for like what he said. Did you hear about there's a NASCAR driver whose dad said something and they canceled this guy? They destroyed this dude's career of like literally riding around circles, which is I think what they're doing to all of us. I mean, if you listen to them and think that they are telling you anything that makes any kind of sense at all. Oh no! Hit the mic stand.
Aw, Cherry.
Oh no, it did go out. Anyways, yeah. So riding around circles, prison industrial complex is crazy. So like that's like back to the 13th Amendment. Like involuntary servitude is like the whole like trip. Like that they. If you identify as a person where they're going to be like, the drug war is basically illegal because it's all based on nonsense. Like they say that like super strength bloodthirsty Mexicans are going to like rape and murder their way across America is how they made the drug war happen, starting with cannabis. And it's like, I don't know, this is a really weird thing. Like that story's on Shake Your Foundation and the Handshake with Michael J. Fox. No, some of you gave that a fair shake. But yeah, so like that's what the prison industrial complex is. The movie Don't Be a Menace, has anybody seen that?
Yeah.
They're like, we got in trouble because we were black on a Friday night. It's like totally ridiculous. Like that's pretty much what they just created, like this new thing. And then like freedom became, instead of picking cotton, it's like picking up white people's shit and off of white fucking toilets and fucking urban cities, like, and that's part of the Agenda 20, whatever the fuck you want to call which year that they've come up with, is to keep everybody in cities. And there's a movie, or excuse me, a book Wendell Berry wrote called The Unsettling of America. That's what it is. And that book is crazy. It like pretty much talks about how so he's not missing a beat on like the kind of stuff I'm tripping out to here. So I appreciate his work. Basically they took Scottish and Irish people to like take over and dominate the landscape from the indigenous people. And then from there, they like were like, all right, like now that you got rid of them, like get into the city, dude. Like that's where everybody goes. That's where you go now. Like so, like people who were like, hey, you could just feed yourself and chill and do your thing. It's just so that's really the trajectory. It's like I don't give a shit like the way you identify. I mean, like actions speak louder than words, and like they really want us all to be like slaves in a pen, like a cow or a chicken or whatever. Like you think you're a human? No, well that basically means you're like a nonsense person, and you're like just as good as a chicken. My dog just sneezed, and I'm also allergic to that shit too. So I guess I don't know. Just take that in stride. So yeah, does anybody know who Lloyd Jowers is? I'll wait. Really? We're gonna run a poll.
No.
All right, so that's great. So that's one of the ones I like. I like to hit this kind of crowd with weird shit, and then you get like a few people like, yeah, and I'm like, all right, fuck yeah, I knew somebody here knows the shit I'm talking about. So Lloyd Jowers is a guy who ran a diner in the vicinity of the Martin Luther King assassination. And there's a lawyer named William F. Pepper, and he's still alive, and he wrote a book called The Assassination of Martin Luther King. An Act of State is the name of the book. And so basically the whole thing is just about how he represented the King family in defying the thing about the Patsy dude. Man, I wish I had fucking thermals on. I feel like a patsy. I'm cold up here. So yeah, thanks you guys for enduring in your seat, which I think you're a little warmer if you got a blanket and shit. You need to do some squats or something. It's my comedy kegels. You heard that one. So anyways, yeah, Lloyd Jowers was literally found guilty in a federal court of conspiracy with the federal government involving the FBI and stuff, and a symbolic ruling that proved that there was like something else than what we were told. Does anybody know the name of the Patsy? There's a lounge actually in California, so that's named after that. Fatsy Klein's. And they do like cool lounge shit. And but they actually, I was doing a trivia night and they like fucked me over. I was like, you guys ruined it. But anyways, so shit. It's not Lee Harvey Oswald. We know which assassin that was. Sorry. I'm on mushrooms and I'm on a trip. Going to Northern California to go to Fatsy Klein's. Yeah, so they like said they were going to pay me like however much. And then like they were like upset. I guess I haven't logged into your thing
Didn't
before.
his family?
Oh, because I got the new
It
phone.
doesn't reach out here very well.
Yes, I see it.
There's
Somebody look it up.
Didn't his
MLK
family,
assassin.
Didn't his family like forgive him, or basically a bunch of Martin Luther
Yeah,
King
that's where I'm going to
families
go
and-
with this. I just want his name right. And I just like,
Burroughs or
I'm totally
something
tripping
maybe,
off
or-
of this. So I got a bunch of stuff I'm going to say. Yeah, please look up MLK assassin real quick and fill me in on that one. Because like, I feel like I was like tripping off of it before and I was like, what is it? So there's a thing, it's called the Berkey Marathons. Has anybody heard of that? All right, here we go. We got 2 for 2 now. I'm stumping y'all with the weird comedy shit. So the Berkey Marathons is a rural marathon, and it's actually laps. So it's a full marathon course, and it's through like the craziest, most fucked up terrain you can imagine, like thorns and just brambles and rivers and streams and just like insane shit. And so these people do it, and there's like actually some people they let in because you have to apply to like get in. Like you can't like, it's like the Boston Marathon, you have to qualify or whatever. So the board that qualifies them, they like actually let like random people get in. They're like, yeah, this person's not going to make it, let them in. They're like the biggest morons. Like, I don't know, they like write something on their application. You're like, this guy sounds like a douche. Like, let's let him try, you know, like he's going to make it a quarter lap maybe. So they do like multiple laps, and it's all based on what happened with the Patsy. they allowed this guy to escape from prison so they could kill him because they didn't want the story getting out. What happened to Jack Ruby? Or with Jack Ruby and Lee Harvey Oswald. He was the guy who just took that fool out. Like, we're not going to let this guy testify. Be like, I didn't kill him. Like, has anybody been to Daily Plaza? All right, so I actually went to the spot, and you have to deal with dodging cars and shit. It's gnarly. It's on a major road, and it's right there in the middle of Dallas. So I go into I went to the spot. You can't sit there and meditate and shit. You're going to get run over. Or, like, somebody's going to run by you really close, at least. And, you sit there and you could look, and you could see the fucking building. Like, there's no way this motherfucker took a shot from that window. It doesn't make sense. There's a tree in the way and shit. Like, and it's a weird angle. It's hilarious. So, anyways, so that's what they do. The people that assassinate someone, allegedly, they don't live very long, so, which is kind of weird. Unless you're like, what was the guy from Lincoln assassination? They were like the brothers. They were theater dudes. Yeah, the Booth. So there's Booth brothers, and so like basically he like had a career and shit. Like Oliver North. Does anybody know about that motherfucker? So he like was involved in the CIA coke stuff. I don't want to talk about him a bit, but that guy's got like a radio show and TV and stuff. Like he's on Fox and everything. It's like, oh, all right. So you were like involved in evil and like you got rewarded because like he basically was like killing it in a weird way. Like also like the assassin. So. Anyway, so this is like more of a historical lecture than a comedy set. Maybe. I have written punchlines to everything all the time. That's how my comedy started. Be like, isn't it funny that the Illuminati does this and then they do that? And then people are like just looking at me like a dog showing a card trick. I'm like, what? Is there a treat involved? Like, I don't know. That's what the joke's supposed to be. So, anyways, nobody knows about fucking Lloyd Jowers and the guy who was involved in the assassination or the patsy, and then they made a marathon over it, so they're making fun of it. I want to talk to those guys and be like, hey, do you understand that, like, when he was, like, let out of prison, like, that was, like, so they could kill him? So, they still do the Berkey Marathon. It's a Netflix documentary. I mean, if you're into, like, extreme, like, ultra-marathon shit, it's fun to check out, but... Basically, what happened is Martin Luther King was starting to actually get like deeper down. Like everybody knew racism existed, right? But he was going to, like after like systematic stuff where like, we are all slaves is like part of the trickery in the monetary system and this and that. So you've got like people that are poor. Like he was going after poverty. Like he was talking about like a 1 million person march to like do like to end poverty and like people that are starving to death or being on the streets without housing. That's kind of things he was doing. He was also attacking the Vietnam War, which is like, anybody knows about Gulf of Tonkin? You've seen Fog of War? All right, so it's like the defense secretary, who's like the Donald Rumsfeld of the day, if you get that reference, who's like, I think he's like complete piece of shit, so unredeemable. But anyways, the guy, Robert S. McNamara, he was the Department of Defense chair and secretary, and then he was like, yeah, we didn't need to bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the attack on that we based our attacking Vietnam was like nonsense too. So anyways, that's just like part of the point here, I guess. So that's kind of stuff that like MLK was probably like raging on. And then so the press started like not giving him press coverage like they did with like Ron Paul, for example. Any Ron Paul fans? I mean, what did he do? Is he not down? Oh yeah, like he didn't like upset you in some way. Like he's like legit. He goes into like impoverished areas and still performs live births, and he's in his like 80s and shit. Like he's a G. Like compared to like all these other assholes that want to like be in politics, like he's probably the least narcissistic person I know of. Like actual genuine person that somehow is like a diamond in the rough. I guess would be probably a better way to describe him. I mean, I'm not necessarily a libertarian. Like I said, I'm anti-ism. Was like one of my earlier things I ranted about. All right, well, I'm at 18 minutes. All right, we're doing good. How you guys doing? Is this okay? I'll talk fast, not always wait for laughs because I didn't write a punchline yet. Oh, like whatever. I'm down with another light though. Keep me warm. A little spliffy. I just put that in backwards. You ever see somebody light a lighter or light a cigarette backwards with their lighter? That is like the most ridiculous. It's like, yo, it smells awful, but you're just inhaling that like a savage. This little light on mine.
Had the kids sing that one time here.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, I guess the point is about Martin Luther King was going after systematic oppression of all people, not of color or whatever, which is like, everybody's got some kind of color. I don't know, it's kind of silly, but whatever. I watched a dude who's like an old, like, classic dude. He'd be like, that's like a racist old cracker or whatever the fuck. Here's another tangent. Crackers, people that crack whips and enslave people. So that's not necessarily a skin color thing. You could be a black cracker all day, you know, like Mary's Gone Crackers. You know, it's on the table inside. I'm just writing it as I go. Damn it, now I lost the pre-tangent for the tangent. Oh, shit. I guess the point was that, yeah, Martin Luther King was getting down to the root of the matter, and which roots actually are part of human civilization and starchy foods and how we survived. But anyways, getting to the root. Root means radical. Radical is like somebody says they're radical. It's just like saying you're anarchistic. You're like, you just want chaos and like rape and murder, just to like unabated like savagery. That's what that means, I guess, is what.
No, but all it really means is
yeah, no masters, no slaves. So I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. So Martin Luther King was getting down to systematic oppression of all people, no masters, no slaves. And then that's when he went from I have a dream to I have a hole in my chest. Yeah, I don't know. You know, even my spliff went out to that one. I was just like, yo, that's just dark. Does anybody know much about Fred Hampton, one of the Black Panthers? So there's an actual movie, like I said, like I'm not mainstream, so you could just do this yourself if you want to check this out. It's actually a really, really well-made film, and it's called Judas and the Black Messiah, and it's about the dude who was the FBI minion who became his close friend and helped set up his assassination. Speaking of assassinations and stuff, so... Yeah, I mean, like, it's just, like, the concept to me, I just find silly, like, I guess I was trying to allude to it earlier and say, like, one of the original founders of the Black Lives Matter is like, yo, this isn't what I was signing up for, like, when I started this shit, like, so, like, if we really want to say, like, lives matter in any sense, and you want to talk about black lives, and you don't know about, like, these people who have been brutally murdered for actually fucking with the system, and, like, actually threatening to make, like, a systematic change to the things that are all screwing us over on a massive level. So Fred Hampton, like, basically they knew where he was and they like raided and whatever because of this guy who, by the way, happy ending in a weird way, to be like a full legit Judas type character. That guy, when a PBS documentary came out that explained what he did, he killed himself. So yeah, his 10 pieces of silver didn't really do him so well. So anyways, yeah, so Fred Hampton, he was like brutally murdered and like dozens of bullets flew into his body and stuff. So, like, my, like, ridiculous view about it is, like, is he black or is he Swiss? Finding humor in things in some way, shape, or form, even if somebody doesn't get you necessarily, doesn't necessarily mean you're an asshole. You're just, like, trying to deal with, like, the trauma of something, you know? Like, it's like you meet somebody that's, like, in a PTSD type character, and you're, like, to try and be like your friends whose blood and guts like flew against you like in some crazy thing that happened in like the Middle Eastern wars, were basically like colonialism of a different flavor, like that like to try and diminish that, like that's like what happens, I think, when people get defensive. They get really upset about the things that hurt them, and like trying to figure out how to deal with that. That's kind of, I guess, one of the things that I trip out to. So, and actually, here's a crazy ass vet story. I'll go on a tangent for my homie Tim. This guy, he went into the Middle East, and he actually was doing like cage fighting and stuff. And this dude, he got disqualified later, but they let him fight a couple times before they got his records. And he has like grenade shrapnel in his neck from like some attack or whatever he dealt with. And they were like, dude, there's no way we will let you fight. You got choked out like 2 times. Like you could have like had your spinal cord severed. Like it's just crazy. So anyways, so the thing that's a real trip about this cat is that somebody raped his sister and he murdered him, stabbed him to death with a knife. And he's just like, goes in front of a judge, and the judge is like, okay, war veteran from the nonsense, like as much as the courts are all like in the corrupt system, they can't like make us all completely irate and outraged necessarily. So I think that if they screwed this guy over, that would happen. So basically the guy looks at the case and he's like, war veteran, fought for freedom, allegedly, blah, 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 and somebody raped his sister, like a really retarded asshole, and case dismissed. So, I mean, like knowing somebody went to war is one thing. You know they probably killed someone, but like knowing someone that killed somebody is like just really weird. So he's one of my friends. And good person to have, I guess, when shit goes down. You guys have any veterans that come here? Like, I don't know if we got like that angle. We'll have to work on that. I want to go with like the crazy PTSD. He's all like all these antipsychotics and he's all fat because he's like got to deal with it. And, like he used to be like skinny and thin and shit when he came back.
You should try MDMA.
Yeah, I tried to talk to him about that, but that's like part of the thing. He's like, he hung out with me and my homies, and we were smoking like grips of weed, like out of volcanoes, and the house was basically hotboxed. Like, so, and his grandma lived next door, and that's like how we became cool. And so we were just like, hey, what's up, dude? Like, and then he's down to come over and hang out, and that's just what happened. He said he never slept better than when he hung out with us because we were fucking outboxing the house. He's like, yeah, I won't smoke it. He's like, but I'll conspire with you, I guess. Back to the etymology and stuff. Anyways, I'm supposed to meet up with him. I'm going on a trip to NorCal, so he's one of the people I want to see. All right, let's see. Fred Hampton. I don't know. I guess like the whole thing too, like about the state nationals and whatever, is like, I don't know, like necessarily, you can't say that like, and there's all this stuff about that thing, The Secret. I'm in like 26 minutes, so I'll try and wrap this up, I guess. Some kind of concept to leave you with. Huh?
The Secret, the movie?
Yeah, so there's a movie, The Secret, and it's just like, if you think that you want this diamond necklace in a window and some douche to give it to you, like, you can make it happen. That was like one of the things I saw. I was like, this is crap. Like, what the hell is this part? But Joe Dispenza in the book Supernatural and like, You Are the Placebo and all that kind of trippy stuff. I really like that. So there's like, it's like I think I said something about it, at least in the first talk, which is just blurry the closer they get in time. But yeah, if you have something that you believe and you want it to be true, it's possible. But I wouldn't frame it on the lines of like wanting like blood diamonds. That to me is contradictory. So. That's what I took from The Secret. The point is like you take what you can. And that's actually, I wanted to mention this. It was in my thoughts, but I didn't like get it out, is the term Kung Fu. The term Kung Fu actually means like some discipline with which you become proficient at through practice and like good character. So Kung Fu doesn't mean that you can just like kick somebody in the chest or whatever very well. Like Kung Fu is actually something that means that you're good at something. And so Kung Fu is that. So I'm trying to do comedy Kung Fu. And if somebody wants to battle me, then let's do it. I'll take challengers. We probably have to have like a thing. That's another thing that's trippy too that I just thought about. Like I just have to rewatch this whole set because I'm just like tripping out. I'm talking about weird stuff. But back in the day, like debates were done. And that was like before sports were what we know them as. But there would literally be like 2 hour a piece. They would have people go back to back and they'd be like, you, sir, I think are full of shit. And then like somebody would say something for like 2 hours. Like that was his gist, you know? And the other guy would be like, they get 2 hours to process what homie said. And then he could come forward and do his rebuttal. And then at the end, and they would like have a back and forth. So it was like a 3-part thing. It was like, I don't know, it was the best 2 out of 3 when they were like,